Well, how y'all doing this morning? Man, the weather is so nice here. Temperature is about 8, 9, maybe even 10 degrees above normal, what it normally is this time of year. You know, I sure was fussing a few weeks ago when it was so miserably hot. But now, we're talking about highs in the high 70s, maybe even 80 degrees. And here it is towards the end of October, so about close to 10 degrees above normal. But it's so comfortable. There's not a cloud in the sky. Reminds me about being out there in Idaho, you know, because there's such low humidity. But anyway, the reason I want to talk to you just a second before I get into this is I had more than one person asking me about the mugs. Okay, now of course you saw that the video opened with just a shot of the mug. I hate to charge for these what they're worth. I just hate doing it. I'll go ahead and tell you, this mug cost me $1.10 at the Dollar Tree. Okay, that's all it cost me, is $1.10. And the materials that I'm going to use to make a decal or stencil to go over this and all, it'd be, let's just call it $1 because that'll cover it. Okay, so I got $2, or let's say 90 cents. So I got $2 in the completed mug. Then I got to ship it. And this thing weighs 25 ounces. It's a heavy, daggum glass mug. And normally, daggum priority mail is within 15 cents of a regular parcel post, so I just send it priority mail. So, if you are interested in getting one of these, which are very nice, I'm going to let you name the price. If you want to give PawPaw a couple of dollars for his trouble, that's fine. If you want to get out just as cheap as you can, I understand. But I want each and everybody out there that would like to have one of these to get one. If this was on eBay, this mug would be $30. I'm not asking anybody to pay $30 for this mug. Now, when it cost me $2 plus shipping, and shipping's going to run, I'm going to guess, in the neighborhood of 10 bucks. So you figure $12.95 probably cover the cost of this shipped to your house. If you want to add anything to $12.95 to help old PawPaw, I appreciate it, but you don't have to. All right, now you're probably going to get tired of watching this video before it's even done, but this video some people are going to find it fascinating of how this process works, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. And in parts where maybe just a machine is operating or something like that, I may fast forward, but I will give you the total time spent. We'll look at the clock whenever I start this process, and then I'll pan the camera over, look at the clock again when I'm done, to give you an idea how long it takes just to do one of these. Okay, of course that time can be shortened if I was doing a dozen at a time, but for me to go in there and fire up my vinyl lettering machine and the whole 9 yards, it takes time. So without further ado, let's get in there and let's make, and I like doing it cheap, engraved, etched, sandblasted, whatever you want to call it, beer mug. And man, these are nice. These are very nice. I think they hold 24 ounces. Oh, they hold 28.2 ounces. Oh, God. Woo. So that'll hold more than 2 regular beers, almost 2.5 regular beers. And the glass was not made in China, it's made in Mexico. Just so any of you want to know. But at least it's made in one of the Americas. And did you know the name of the country is not Mexico? The actual name of the country is the United States of Mexico. Just like we have the United States of America, their country is the United States of Mexico. Just a little trivia there for you. Matter of fact, one of the Mexican presidents was trying to get the name changed just to Mexico. All right, well, let me shut this thing off, and we'll get back in there and get all set up, and you see how this process goes. For those of you that don't want to stick around and watch the process, I appreciate you anyway. Thank you so much for watching. And for those of you that are interested, follow me. All right. Well, I want to apologize to you ahead of time because quite a bit of this that I have to do over here, I'm going to have my back turned to you. And I know that's rude, but that's all I can do. So, somebody comes up, they want an etched glass mug, or they want whatever. I go to my computer and I, got to pull up the program. And oh, I didn't show, but it's on my clock right here. It's 8:27. Let me show you that. Okay, it's 8:27 in the morning, okay? All right. Okay. Alright, so 8:27 in the morning, I get over here, I got my vinyl and my machine here. Gotta get it set where I can use it. And like I said, some of this I'll be just fast forwarding, but it's just gonna be boring as hell to you. Alright, so my cutter is ready. Now I've got to tell it what to cut. So I go in here and I go in here and I'm typing up and I'm making me a text here, and let's see, I've got to do some I want to play with it a little bit. I want to skew it. Yeah, I want to distort it. That's what I want to do. And I want to do this effect with it. And then I'm going to tell it that I want the overall length of it to be, in this case, 6 inches. Okay. So there, I have created the file. Now, I'm actually going to open that same file because this is the actual one that I've been using, and it's got my contour smooth so that anytime I ever do this, my decals or whatever, they're all the same. Okay? So, I've got my file here, and I'm going to cut that out. And since I've got my vinyl is 24 inches wide, and I can use about 22 inches of it. And if I only do one of these, I've wasted material that I could have done 2 or 3 more. So that's why it is cheaper whenever I'm doing stuff like this to do more than one at a time. And why, whenever someone calls and they just want one that says, you know, congratulations, brother, or whatever. Whenever they just want this one, then I'm wasting a lot of material because, like I said, it comes in a 24-inch wide roll. All right, let's see. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to make 3 of these. Oh, I didn't resize that. Let me go back in there. Boy, I'm glad I caught that. I'd have been upset. 6 inches wide. Alright, because this is for my mugs. My other decals are like 8 inches wide. Alright, let's see. Try this again. There we go. Alright. I'm going to tell it to cut it. I'm going to tell it to cut medium speed. That ought to be alright. Okay. Send. Now, while the vinyl cutter is doing its job, I can sit here and fast forward this thing, I guess. It won't take just a second though. I might as well let you see how long it takes to do stuff like this. I bought my vinyl machine. What got me into this was 20 years ago, I started racing dirt track, you know, quarter-mile dirt track. And all my life I'd wanted to drive a race car. And I ended up buying a daggum race car off old boy for $800. And oh my God, that was the most fun I ever had with my clothes on. Oh. So, I realized after my very first trip out there, after having painted my car by hand and all this lettering and all that, I realized after my very first trip out there on a racetrack that it was going to be a full-time job just to keep names and numbers on my car. So I decided that I would look into getting this type of equipment. Now back then it was like $3,000. So I talked to the other boys that drove race cars, and I said, if I was to do your numbers and your lettering for you and could save you money, would you buy from me, a fellow race car driver? And they said, well, sure. I said, well, great. So, I made the investment to buy this equipment. And I will tell you that this machine right here has not lasted 20 years, but it's only the second one I ever bought. I've had to buy the software more than once, and that's a hit of about $500 a pop. But this most recent episode I ran into was whenever I got my new computer, which is faster processor and all that kind of stuff. Come to find out that my software requires Windows 7. Doesn't work with Windows 10. So I went to a pawn shop and I got a daggone laptop computer with Windows 7, so that if this one ever craps out, I'm good. Okay, the stencil has now been cut, and let me show you what the next step is. Okay. And this is also how I make your decals. If I was going to send you a decal, what you would get what you would get is this right here. You notice that you would be getting the lettering, okay? And Rodney, I know I'm sending you a mug, so I'll just stick this decal down inside that mug, and if you can do something with it, that's fine. If you can't, that's fine. The old Rodney, he been bugging me, man, he been wanting to see this video. Well, by God, he better watch every darn minute of it. That's all I got to say. So, what you get there, what you'll end up getting then is that right there. Of course, it has that tape over it. You saw on them. You saw on my video where I was doing the drawing that it has the application tape over it. So, of course, I'm kind of rushing it because I've got you on video, trying to get through this quickly. So anyway, you would get that right there, and that would be your decal. Okay? But we're not making decals, we're making stencils. And the difference between a stencil and the decal ought to come to you that we're going to save the opposite of this. What we're going to save is everything else. So I have to go in here on these stencils. I have to go in here and pick out the lettering. And I'm going just as fast as I can. I'm not trying to slow it down to make y'all think it takes me all day. Although sometimes it does. So what I'm doing is I'm picking out the pieces that are crap. Picked out the wrong thing. Dadgummit. Done that just like a decal. That's all. I got nothing. Alright. What I'm going to be doing here is pulling out the letters. Because when I put this on the glass, the letters is what you want to see. Dadgummit. You ever have one of those days? That's what I get for trying to talk and work at the same time. There. Okay. Anyway, I have to pull out each individual letter here. And it can take a while, especially if the stuff is real fine, real tiny. And I'd rather do a 3-foot by 4-foot sign as to do a little piece like this. This is so delicate, you know, the least little thing you can screw up. But anyway, this is what it takes. I had one guy ask me, he said, you know, Bob, do you mind telling me, you know, what material you use to sandblast? I use the black aluminum oxide. I use the black aluminum oxide that they sell at Harbor Freight with these, that they sell to go in these sandblasting cabinets. And I only run my air pressure about 60 psi. That's all I use, is about 60 pounds. I'm not trying to blast a hole in these glasses. I'm just trying to etch the surface. And that aluminum oxide seems to do a real good job. There's a sweet lady out in Idaho that was one of the very first people I sent a shirt to. Was Linda Smith out near Boise, Idaho, and she was wearing her, and I hope she don't mind me telling her age. Let's just say she's been retired for a few years. Anyway, she said she was at like a farmer's market or something, and a bunch of her girlfriends thought that the shirt was cute. They liked it and all. And this other woman says, "Oh my God, that shirt is tasteless and tacky." She says, "You think this shirt is tasteless and tacky? You ought to meet the guy that made it." Oh, I was going to die laughing. You ought to meet the guy that made it. All right. Now, just trim this excess off. It'll be getting them away. So what we're going to have here is a stencil. And there you go. Now, what I got to do now is I've got to go wash a glass, because there's some kind of film on these glasses when they first get here from Mexico. So I'm going to, I'll hit fast forward, I'll play some music or whatever. But anyway, I'll be right back. All I'm going to do is just wash a mug. There it is. I'm going to go wash it. All right. Well, I've got it washed. Got it dry. Oh, I'll tell you what. Ain't this election been something else? God. And how about that World Series? The Indians versus the Cubbies? Wow. Ain't that something? Neither team has been there in a long time. One of them, what, 1908, and the other 1940 something? Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay. So now, I've got my clean mug. So what I have to do, if you recall, now if I send you a decal, you use the same technique right here. Good place to get started. There we go. Whew. Okay. You know what I didn't do? I didn't squeegee that down. I forget my own dadgum instructions. Okay. Anyway, if you get decal from me, take your driver's license or something, squeegee it down real good. The idea is you want that tape. You want that tape to hold on to that lettering, because right now the lettering came attached to this paper I'm trying to peel off, okay? Remember, I added the tape. So you want to get this wax paper down flat so the edge that's curling is really sharp, so that it's pulling sideways and not up. If I pull it sideways there, then that stuff stays on. So now I've got my, I don't know if you can see through it. Anyway, I've got my decal here, and this is, you get one chance at this. You don't get a second chance. So basically, I know where the center of my decal is, and I'm just going to center that right there on a line. And wrap that on right there. Okay. Now then, make sure that's squeezed on there real good. Okay. Then I peel off this application tape carefully, because I got that little bitty tiny thing inside that letter E I don't want to come out, and little spots inside the P and the A, the O, the G. So you gotta be real careful. Alright, well, it looks good so far. Alright, so now then, all I'm going to do is I'm going to apply more tape all around it, just to protect the rest of my glass from getting overspray on it. Okay? And it looks pretty level. One thing about when you're working with a glass, especially if they're shaped weird, it's hard to get that stuff to lay perfect like it ought to. So that's why I'm kind of particular about what kind of glasses I do this with. Alright, so I'm going to mask this off. You might think I'm going a little overboard with this masking tape, but man, just one inadvertent flip of that sprayer, you can send that grit to places you sure didn't mean to send it to. And if I get overspray on a certain spot, all of a sudden it ain't perfect no more, and guess what? The customer don't want it. That means I got to start all over again. It's not the cost of materials, it's dadgum time it takes. Okay, so we started at 8:27. I had everything set up ready to start this job, and it is now 9:52. So it's been 10, 20, it's been 25 minutes just getting it ready. And I had everything laid out ready to go. I didn't have to get organized at all. Okay, normally I would turn the vacuum on when I'm operating my sandblaster just to keep it a clear cabinet in there so I can see. But it's in the house, the hose runs out here, it's very loud, my wife is at home, so I'm gonna run it without the vacuum. So let me get the air compressor plugged in. Get back to 2 shakes. Uh-oh, I gotta steal that light. Alright, let me get things moved around here. Old boy asked me, he says, "You got a sandblast cabinet in your living room?" Well, it's not really my living room. You know, what a lot of guys call their man cave, you know. But this is just where I hang out. Those of you who've been keeping up with me, you know I quit smoking January 17th. And I haven't had a cigarette since. And here it is, October something. So I've gone a good 9 months. But I hung out in this part of the house because I smoke. My wife doesn't smoke. And you know how it is, it stinks. Anything it comes in contact with makes it stink. So I pretty much just stayed the hell out of the main house and made this my hangout out here. So this is where I do everything. And I ain't out to impress nobody. The only person that's got to be happy with this room is me. So I'm happy, and that's all that damn well matters. Okay, let me make sure the camera's still set right. Yeah, there ain't a whole lot for you to look at here whenever I'm doing this. Sorry. I can't set the camera up where you can see through the screen or the glass, because hell, I can barely see through the glass. And I don't run my air pressure real high. Matter of fact, I think it kicks off out there at 60 psi, because you don't need a lot of pressure with aluminum oxide to sandblast glass. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah. The neat thing about this is if you've got your air pumped in or piped in like I do, this isn't very loud at all. And this doesn't take too long. But like I say now, I'm not running real high air pressure either. I think that if I were running real high air pressure, it would probably just tear the hell out of my stencils. And I'd have to buy a heavier material like they use on tombstones. cemetery markers. So by using low pressure air, I can use a thinner material. I don't have to buy anything special. For those of you that do have a vinyl lettering machine, what I'm using here is Orcal 651. Those of you in the business, you know what that is. Orcal 651. It's a medium grade calendar vinyl. It looks pretty good. By Jove, I think we've got it. That didn't take long. Let me go unplug my air compressor. Oh, hush. All right. So, there's the mug. Now I've got to go in there to the kitchen sink and use hot water and get all this tape off of here. So in the meanwhile, I'll turn this back around where it was and let y'all look at a whole bunch of nothing, or maybe you can play I Spy. Who knows? A bunch of shit piled up everywhere. Be right back. Okay. It is 9:02. And what time do we start? 27 minutes after. 10, 20, 30, 35. So it took about 35 minutes to do this. Now we haven't of course, we haven't boxed it up, we haven't shipped it and all that kind of stuff. But anyway. Here we go. There's one had before. And here's this one. No two alike. Okay, so that is how you do an etched glass mug or whatever with your sandblaster and your vinyl cutting machine. I hope it's been entertaining to you. For those of you that do want one, I mean, if you're sitting here saying, well, I don't know how to price it. All right, look at it this way. By the time I package it up and I ship it to you and all that, you know, it's an hour of my time. So, here's what I tell folks. That side ain't gonna work. So people ask me, they say, well man, I don't know what to price it, I don't know what to pay for it. Well, it's real simple. You got a man's labor and 2 expensive pieces of equipment to manufacture something. And I've always looked at it this way. How much do you make an hour? Now, if you're retired or all you make is minimum wage, then my labor ought to be worth $7.50 to you. If you make $20 an hour, are you asking me to work cheaper than you? So $20 ought to be fair for my labor to you. So each individual out there has different levels of income, and some folks ain't got minimum wage. So by golly, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. So you pretty much figure that I believe I can ship this to you. I believe I can. Let me tell you what, while I got you on the video, let me get a scale and weigh this darn thing. I got confused because I was talking about it being 28 ounces, but hell, 28 ounces is what it holds, not what it weighs. Holy shit! This thing weighs 2 pounds 8 ounces, 2 pounds 7.5 ounces. So you're looking at a package. If you were going to calculate it, you would look at a package sent to you weighing between 2 and 3 pounds. So that is 2.5 pounds of glass. And by the time we had our box and our wrappings and all that, I'm talking right at a 3-pound package. So you can figure it out. My zip code is 37388. So you just figure whatever postage is from there. But so hell, I don't know what it's going to cost to ship. Anyway, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I got to send one to Rodney, and when I do find out what it costs to send one just over to, is it North Carolina or South Carolina? I think it's South Carolina. Anyway, just from Tennessee, it'll give me an idea. But I'll look and see what it would cost to say ship to Idaho, to my buddy the Idaho Hillbilly, Florida, Maine, you know, Gene Chambers up in Maine. Anyway, we'll see what it costs, and I'll put a note on the video to give you an idea. But anyway, this wasn't about selling them. This was supposed to be about telling you how they're made. And I hope it's enlightened you, give you an idea of what all is involved. But it sure makes a nice gift, and you know that'll never wash off. That's actually, you know, etched in there. That is cool as it can be. I really like it. Okay. Well, folks, y'all have a wonderful day, and a better tomorrow. Bye.